The Jabari Show is sponsored by RMB Only and Colors Worldwide. Yes, I own Colors Worldwide, but in the words of Jay-Z, I play for the team I own. Let me tell you a little bit more about RMB Only if you don't know. RMB Only has produced over 150 shows in 40 plus cities. We've independently produced our own music festival. We've held shows in some of the most legendary concert venues around the world. RMB Only has been featured in major press outlets such as Billboard, Hypebeast, Black Enterprise, and we've had guest performers from so many different R&B artists, including Kiana Lede, Keisha Cole, Ashanti, Omarion, Queen Naija, Jacquees, Tank, BJ the Chicago Kid, Mario, and a bunch more. There's so much that we have planned in store for the future of R&B Only. Plan on getting into media, music, even building education platforms for R&B creators. There's just so much more. And we would love for you to be a part of the ride. We would love for you to become an investor and co-owner with us. So you can find more information and become an investor at startengine.com/R&B Only. Click invest now. Okay. What's up? Welcome to the Jabari Show. Once again, I have a very exciting guest here with me today. And, you know, I'm a really big art fan. And so I've been a fan of this woman's for quite some time from afar, seeing things from my staff that they've showed me and just seeing her progression in the art world. And I'm really excited to have this conversation with her about art, business, life, everything in between. And yeah, happy to have Distorted on the Jabari Show right now. What's up? What's up? What's up? How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You know, just there's a new tenant in our office next door, and they are a hairdresser, and I'm smelling burnt hair when I walk into my office.
That's the worst smell, yo. I hate that smell.
Yeah, it's not a good smell. But you know what? You know, you gotta, you know, I never knock the hustle, right? So you gotta get your money, and it's all good. So you know what? Let's start. Speaking of, now didn't you actually used to work in a hair salon?
Yeah.
Was that
so
like
I know exactly what that smells like?
That was your first job?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so let the people know.
I used to be like the girl that would wash the hair. Like the well, there's a name for that. I don't know what it's called. I wash the hair, but I was mainly there to braid.
Okay. First, you know, introduce yourself. I mean, you have, you know, many talents, I'm sure, but a lot of people know you for your art and your visual art. Yeah. But how do you like to introduce yourself when, you know, when you meet a new person? What's the intro?
I don't know. I'll just be like, yo, like, I think people just already know who I am. So half of the time I don't have to introduce myself. So I'm just Distorted. Once you mention Distorted, everybody kind of gets it. I just think that name is too long. Well, so like people like Santana or some shit like that.
Where did the name come from? Like, Distorted means that you can't, I guess, fully see it, right? So like, where did you get that name and why did you want to, you know, have that be your art name?
I feel like there was a sign from God or something. It came out of nowhere, honestly. I was sitting in the attic. I was in West Philly. I had just graduated college and I was trying to figure out what to do with my life. And I was just like, dude, I'm supposed to get a job now? Because, you know, college is like 4 years. That's 4 years of being reckless and just, It's a whole different world. So it's like, I got thrown back into the real world and I'm like, what the fuck? Oh my God. And I just started experimenting. I've always wanted to do art. It just wasn't, to my mom, it wasn't realistic. She's like, oh, what, be an artist? You better take her ass to college. So I went to college. Yeah. Those 4 years, I learned a lot. And when I graduated, I was so confused. I was lost, like completely lost, because it was the hardest time to find a job. It was really, really hard.
What year did you graduate?
I don't tell people that.
Because if you said it was the hardest year, I have a guess. Because I graduated in the hardest year. So and okay, we won't give the exact year out, but
you trying to figure out my age. You know that's a secret.
But was it because of something that was going on in the country economically? Is that why it was the hardest?
At the time, yeah, that has something to do with it too. But I was kind of like careless when I was in college. I'm surprised that I graduated on Dean's List.
I know you're in the Dominican Republic right now, and it's a little different down there.
Yeah, it's beautiful though.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I went to the DR in 2015, I believe, and it was my first
You gotta
time.
come back again. That's a long time.
I know it's been way too long, but it was one of my favorite places. Like the people, uh, the food, the weather. It was incredible.
It's beautiful. I love it here.
You spoke about, your mom not necessarily believing in your art career, right?
She did believe in it, but she just wanted to be realistic at the time.
Realistic. Is that
And I
something that?
love psychology. Like I don't regret going to school for psychology. I'm not saying that.
Hmm.
'Cause I love psychology. I've always wanted to do that. But art is a passion. That's something that's a talent. That's a gift. So
Is your mom's from the DR? I'm assuming, right? That's where
yeah.
your family.
Yeah.
And do you think that that's something that's like being first generation immigrant? Do you think that they like parents of immigrants? Do you
Thank you,
think
Mom.
that they want to go more of a safe route for their children?
Yeah, they do. Like I feel like they're a little bit afraid. I don't know. They're a little bit strict with us. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't really get it. They came from a whole different uh, generation,
Yeah.
so they don't really know like what's going on. You know?
Well, let's dive into that a little bit more, right? So, like, how do you convince, this person who's made a jump to a new country, has children, has made all this sacrifice, and then you just tell them, you know what? I want to do something creative. I don't want to do psychology. Even though I went to school for this. I want to do what my passion is telling me to do. Is there some backlash or headbutting when
Yeah,
when
it definitely was in the beginning.
yeah.
It's like, what the hell's wrong with you? What are you doing? Sorry, this is so
Yep.
ghetto. It's like, what are you doing? Like, it was like a radical move. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. So I bring her to my first art show, and I was just like, she was just looking in awe. She's like,
Mm.
it didn't process until like I started getting corporate projects. That's when she was like, okay. Like,
Because the money, she could see it actually being successful.
yeah, the first art show was just
She saw the money rolling in.
it's funny for that one. So she's like, because my first art show was kind of like I did that by myself. You know, I used all my money. I think it cost me a couple bands, maybe like 3 stacks, and I was just like, just gonna do it. She just saw like just a preview of what I saw because my vision, I saw it way bigger than that. I was like, this is just the beginning.
How did you have the vision? Like I guess so switching gears a little bit. It's like I know you liked art, right? So like you were doing art since you were a kid, right?
Correct.
How art, especially visual art, right? It's one of those careers that the track to how to make money from it is very different for a lot of people, right? So I want to dive into like first, how did you know how you were going to start making money? Like, did you say, okay, corporate brand partnerships, me being hired to do stuff, or did you think it was like the more museum, high art, that kind of that kind of track in terms of like how you were going to make?
Money.
You weren't thinking about money.
I was doing what I love to do.
Got it.
It was something that I'm still excited. I'm trying to keep that excitement. Every day I would just wake up and I wanted to just make art, and I would stay up all night. I would go to work. I had like a job as a TSS worker in Philly. That's like you work with kids with like mental health disorders and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I was doing that, and then I'll come home and work on art. It's just something that I needed to do every day. I wasn't thinking. I mean, I knew that where it could take me, but that wasn't the motive. Like money. It was just, this is what I want to be. I'm going to make it happen. I see myself being a great artist. This is what I want. The money and everything kind of just came on its own, you know?
Yeah.
All those corporate people, they came on their own.
And I think what was your first corporate deal that you got that you were like, oh wow, okay, now I'm actually making money from my passion?
I can honestly say it didn't happen until my show that I did with Champ Sports for Art Basel. It was a couple years ago. It was with DJ Khaled. That's when I was like, yeah.
And what was the brand?
It was for Champ Sports. We did like I did an art show thing at his store.
Okay.
He has his own little I don't know if he still has it, but he has his own little sneaker store in Miami.
Got it.
So they had to do the art for it.
And tell me about like what happened after that, because so I've seen so many different brand partnerships from you, right? Like, I mean, you may be the first female artist, visual artist with the Reebok shoe, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just came out with the Topps baseball card. You know, you've had your work has been in Champs or Foot Locker.
It's Foot Locker.
Foot Locker, okay.
I just work with Champ, but
Okay,
Foot
so it seems like these things started rolling in, right? So
Yeah.
how did it go from that first one to everything that you've done thus far and everything that you're gonna continue to do?
I think it's a consistency. You know, once one company likes you and they you know they post your projects, another person sees it and they're like, whoa, okay, I gotta fuck with her, and then it just keeps coming in. Like I can't explain it. I think it's just me manifesting too at the same time.
Got it. So what I like to talk about with people on this show, right, is the sort of intersection of life and business, right? So as you're progressing, as people see, oh man, Santana, she's got this deal, she's got that deal. What started to happen in your regular life, right? Like, were things changing? Did people think you were more on than you actually were? Let's talk a little bit about that.
They look at the outside, like the social media, too much, and they don't really know what's going on in the inside. Because, like, I feel like social media, like, because of all the projects, you can portray yourself to be bigger than what you really are in real life. I feel like, honestly, to be humble, like, and being honest, like, I'm just getting started. So people think that I'm just like her head's in the clouds. She's just, no. I'm literally just getting started. I feel like people have that notion and they'll like unconsciously just treat you that way. And it's like, that's not really how I am. You know what I'm saying? You can't control what others perceive of you. You just control yourself. So
when you say you're just getting started, where do you see your career, right? Because I know I've watched some of your other interviews, right? And I've seen you say how people don't realize that artists, when they are successful, right? And some of the people that you know, I know you're a fan of Cars. You know, I know you're a fan of Tekashi. I know Yayoi Kusama. These artists talk about how the age that they are, right? Like they're not.
I know if they're old.
They're not young, and you know, but their careers seem to have gotten to the heights that they've gotten to in the later stage of their life. Talk a little bit about that and how the grind for an artist is a very long time.
Oh yeah, it can take years. And like when I first started, I knew that it was going to take me a long time, and I was in it for the long run. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like an overnight thing. It's just impossible. Do that. And I think a lot of people, like the younger kids, they're not understanding that. They're like, yo, it takes years to get to where Cause is at or where comedy is at. Like that's not something that it's not like music, not a rapper. Not an overnight celebrity.
Yeah.
You gotta really like lay that like foundation down and keep building and building and building and building and building and building. And then I'm okay with being old as shit and making it at that point. I'm okay with that. Like it's all about the journey for me. Like, I'm not in a rush.
Yeah.
I've never been in a rush. What's the rush for? That's just how I see it.
Why do you think it's hard for so many people to sit back and enjoy the journey?
They're looking too much at what other people are doing.
Comparing too much.
Comparing. You want this, you want that, you want that. That person might have everything and not be happy on the inside. Because every day they're probably under so much pressure, so much stress. They're rushing all the time. And I feel like, just take your time.
I like to think about, I've been caught in that as well, and I think that all of us, right? One stat, right, that really changed my mind with a lot of stuff was when I found out the average age of millionaires in America. Let me just. What do you think the average age of a millionaire is?
I don't want to be offensive, but old as shit.
Okay, give me a ballpark. What do you think?
Because I don't know, maybe 50s and up.
That is an amazing guess. So, all right, let's go to Google right now. Average age of, because I think it changes. 62 years old is the average age.
Close.
You're close.
I was close.
But you know what, Santana, when I ask a lot of people that, especially a lot of younger people I talk to, they always say 30, 28, 29. And I'm like, this is a no pun intended. Yeah, no pun intended. this is a distorted view of reality. You know what I mean? And I think that it's you hit the nail on the head, right? It's like people are comparing themselves to look. There's definitely young millionaires and young people who are successful, but
and I have respect for that. But that's not. I'm not gonna say it's not realistic, but it's just that person. That was meant for that person. In all honesty, like typically you're a lot older when you have a lot of like when you reach that point, you're older. Like
yep,
that's what it is. And I need people to get that out their head that I need to make it right now. I'm this age. I'm not stop because you're gonna stress yourself out and then you're gonna look old as shit.
yeah, yeah. It's
22, 22 looking like you like 30 something, 40
exactly.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best comparison is comparing yourself. You know, it's like you wake up every day, everybody has the same chances, and we have the chance to say, are we better than we were yesterday? Are we better than we were last week? If I look back at this past year, am I in a better position? And if the answer is no to any of those, then you have the opportunity and the power to change that. So
Exactly.
I definitely want young people to start, shifting. And I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe it's going to take breaks from social media, right? Because this
Like,
stuff is,
you need breaks. Oh my
yeah,
God. Like I was at a point I would take like a month off of Twitter and just disappear. Now I'm like on a good headspace, but when I'm like frustrated or like I'll just disappear.
yeah,
And it helps because you come back and you're just like refreshed. It's like taking a nap.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like that. Social media nap.
Yeah. And sometimes you need that.
Yeah,
It's just no one's gonna figure it out for you. You have to figure it out yourself. And I had to learn that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you're passionate about what you do, but
Mhm.
why is art important to you?
Art is life. What would the world be without art?
Trash.
I think it'd be very depressing. I think there's is something about art. I think it's very spiritual too. So
How would you describe the art that you make?
crazy as fuck. I think it's free. Like it's just I don't give a fuck. Like I just do what I want to do and I create whatever I see in my head.
Yeah. And that's, a lot of times when I look at your work, I try to think, what was she thinking when she made this? Like,
Sometimes I ask myself that. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is this?
because a lot of your stuff will have, like a eye might be somebody's entire face, or,
Right.
or like there'll be so much stuff going on in the work. And I'm like, wow, it makes me want to get into the mind of you. Do you think that your work is understood from the people that consume it?
I think so. They have some type of a connection, because I think everybody has that part in their brain where they're just a little bit like scattered a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what my art represents. Like sometimes I could think about multiple things at once. It's crazy. Like I have like multiple tabs in my head. And I think when I do the art, it just comes together somehow. And there we go.
Do you think about, as an artist, your expression, your passion, but would you say that you have a certain like aesthetic or brand, or like, for instance, right? Both big fans of cars, right? So I have this right here.
I want that toy so bad.
Yeah, this is I love this.
jealous.
It's flat and it looks like when you put it down, he's just like laying down. But I believe this guy is called he has a name, right? I think it's BFF, or is the other one BFF? I can't remember.
Companion.
Yeah, I think this is Companion, and I think BFF might be the other one or something. But you see how there's branding, right? To the pieces. Is that something that you're thinking about or you want to get into, right? Do you want to say, okay, well, this is a almost like a character that I have that can be sold and commodified and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm slowly getting into that because I have so many different pieces. So the main thing that I use is girls with one eye. When I had that Foot Locker project, that's mainly what it was focused on. And I think from now on, moving forward, that's going to be the main focus for everything. Mostly, not really the eye, but
Yep.
because I'm so like I have so many different. I'm complex. Like there's a lot of different things that I represent, but it's mostly the girl, the one eye, flowers, mushrooms, shit like that.
I would love to have, because that was my next thing. Like, I feel like with you, the eye, that it's that thing. You know, the girl with the eye. Like, I would love to have a
That's
figurine
the best shit.
in my office of that. So as soon as you make that, I'll be the first one buying that for sure.
Hey, but you know that's what branding is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over.
Absolutely,
Different
absolutely.
ways over and over and over. It's very repetitive, and after a while, it just kind of sinks.
So speaking of that, tell me about your thoughts about the art world now. Do you think it's in a good space?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think this is a good time for artists. Definitely. It might. I hate to say this. It's probably been a bad year for everybody because it was for me at first, but then like this is probably one of the best years I've ever had. So it's like it doesn't really make sense, but
Mm,
I think if you take advantage of what's going on now, that the world has slowed down, and focus on your art, it can take you places. These people are looking for artists to do projects with, you know? Everything's kind of slow. That's why I be telling myself, take advantage of this time and work on art and stay
yeah.
focused as much as possible.
I mean, people right now, they can't go to museums
Art
as
show.
much or art shows. How much of that is a part of your business?
I just started my first, got into my first gallery over the summer. It sucks that people can't really, like, I didn't get to throw like a big ass art show or nothing like that. We're opening, but I'm satisfied with knowing that it's there.
And for people that don't know about this world, right, or want to get into this world and what is the process of getting into an art gallery?
I think that was God, honestly, because that's always been something that I wanted. You know, I didn't even know how to go about it.
Wow.
That's why I was doing my own little art parties, art shows. I did my own thing. I was like, fuck it, I can't get into this gallery. I don't know how to get into it. Boom, I'm about to throw an art show. Boom, I'm about to do art. I used to do that. I was doing that for years. And then it just happened. They kind of just was like, oh yeah, we fuck with her art. Bet.
Wow. It's kind of like if somebody is asking a up and coming artist, like a rapper, how do you get a record deal? It's like there's no rhyme or like it's not like a set way to do it.
No, you have to make your own way. Everybody has their own way to do it. Nobody's way is the same. And I like learned that over time. I was like, I can't do what Kaz did. I can't do what Murakami did. I'm Anya. I'm a whole different person. Like I'm not them. I'm writing my own story, and I think people need to keep that in mind. That's why when like sometimes like I'll backtrack and I'm like, ooh, I shouldn't have did that. Then I'm like, no, this is my story. This
Yeah.
is my journey. You know.
But what it sounds like though, that there is something that everybody can do, and that's build your own audience and maybe be as unique as possible with your
Transparent
work.
as possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Transparent. The only difference I think between me and a lot of other artists, I'm very personable. Like I like to talk to people, and I'm active on social media.
That's how we connected. I mean,
Yeah.
you are one of the most entertaining people that I follow on any social media channel.
That's a compliment. Thank you. Because sometimes, like, I be thinking, like, damn, I do take a risk. Because some companies be like, but then, like, at the end of the day, yo, if I can't be myself, I want no parts in it. Sorry,
Yep.
no, 'cause I'm not a robot. And I keep telling people that I'm not a robot.
Yeah. The art world is, and this is just most worlds, honestly. Most sectors of business are run by men. And, you being a woman trying to make waves, I see how your eyes.
You know, I did a campaign with Reebok for "It's a Man's World" with the crossed
Yep.
out. Yeah, so
Yep.
that's a big problem. It's always been a problem.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Like, what have your challenges been as a woman in the space?
There's a lot of challenges. I think women, I could be attractive and attract an audience.
Mm-hmm.
Men, y'all got it differently. Y'all can't do what women do. Like you can't, and that kind of causes some type of friction.
Hold on. Like, okay, get deeper with that. So explain.
Causes some kind of friction because they're like, oh, you're using your body or the way that you look to attract what you're doing, and I'm like, no. Let me show you all the pieces that I do and all the work that I do. Let me just keep hitting you with that so you can get it through your head that I can be both things.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what's the problem with that. For musicians, it's different. Like Cardi B can do, or Megan Thee Stallion, that's good for them. But when it comes to me, you hear the word fine artist. Like when I hear fine artist, I see, it gives me like someone who's just like this, like, like who doesn't speak, who doesn't do nothing but sit and paint art and just look perfect all the time. That's not me.
Mm.
And like, I honestly hate the term fine artist.
Yeah, yeah.
Fine
So I mean, why don't you just flip it and be like, I'm a fine artist, you know?
Right. That's funny as hell. Who the hell came up with that word? Fine artist. Like, what the hell does that even mean?
You
Yeah,
know, you
it's crazy.
you bring up a really interesting point though, because I never thought about it like that, right? Like I think that there's a women's empowerment movement that we've seen going on for the past like 5 years, and I love to see it, right?
It's always going on. Women have been fighting for their rights forever,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
still going on to this day
And
in
but
different forms.
but the comparison you made is very interesting, right? Because it's like if you're a singer or a rapper or a pop artist and you're embracing your sexuality and you're being sexy, it's not really as taboo in that world. But when you do it as a visual artist,
Oh, hell breaks loose. What are you doing? Go
yeah,
paint. I came here to see the art. Oh my god. That's all I hear. And you know what it makes me do? Want to do it even more.
yeah,
Because I got you in a frenzy. Fuck out of
yeah,
here. I'm going to do that and then I'm going to go paint. People
yeah.
got me fucked up. The hell?
Yeah, no. I mean, and so what about other spaces? Like, is there any other things that you're trying to change as a woman artist, or like in such a male sort of controlled and driven industry? What are some other spaces that you're trying to sort of like, break down in that space for young girls?
I just want them to feel. I have a problem with control and authority, and I understand. Like I have my issues too. Like I got a smart mouth. I'm really like in your face. I'm really dominant.
Hmm.
So I just want women to feel free and not feel so like constricted or like just put in a box. Like you can be many things at once. You don't have to be this person who's supposed to play by the rules that were made by men.
Yeah,
Like they weren't even made by women, they're made by men. Once you feel free, you're able to make better work because you don't feel so much tension. You're just like, That's why I be like, sometimes I'll be so confused. I'll be like, if you look at my art pieces from back then, a couple years ago, I used to draw naked women. Their titties would be out, you see
hmm,
nipples, all vagina. So then I'd be like, sometimes they'll fuck with me and I'm like, yo, what am I like? No, this is who I am. And I've always been this way. Don't let people try to convince you that you're not you or to not be yourself.
yeah,
That's the main thing. And that's
yeah,
what I'm be trying to push. I have to make changes to improve myself, but I'm not gonna change myself so that you can feel comfortable.
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And I think when people do change themselves, they always end up with regret. You don't
Yeah,
want to build a career.
hell no.
You don't want to build a career
That's
based on
that. You
something
gotta go
that,
all the way.
yeah. Like imagine if you build a career based on something that is not you, right? And you have to live up to this facade, and you have to portray this thing that is just not authentic. It's like you'd be living in like a constant hell because,
Torture. That's self torture that you did to yourself. Like,
yeah.
oh, not with
Absolutely.
it.
You're not just a artist, you're not just a female artist, you're also a mother and an artist. And like, I mean, how is it raising a young child and having to do all the stuff that you have to do? I mean, that the responsibility is, I'm sure, a lot.
It's not easy. It's really hard. Everything that I do, I have to keep him in mind. He goes first. If I gotta sit with him on my lap and I'm painting with him and he's helping me paint, that's what we do. It's not easy, but it's not impossible at the same time.
Yeah,
That's what moms are. Like you're like a Superman,
yeah, yeah.
Superwoman. I have no complaints about that. It's nothing but like, I don't know. It's awesome.
Does your son want to become an art? Like, is he painting as well?
Yeah, he is painting. He did a project recently with his father.
Nice.
Did like a monster thing. He's dabbling into it. He's really into like playing with toys and stuff right now. He's being a kid
Yeah,
and he's just experimenting. And I want to keep it that way. I don't
yeah,
want to push anything on him just yet. I want him. I'm going to put it there, and if he wants to play with that, that's fine. I want him to figure it out, and then I'll see what he likes the most, and then we can build from there. But I'm not
yeah.
going to push him to do art. Like that's something that comes naturally. Because my mom didn't do that to me.
Yeah, exactly. Have you heard of NFTs?
Yo, I just got introduced to that recently,
Okay,
honestly.
so
I don't know too much about it though.
all right, I will try to explain it for those listening that might not know. But NFTs, I'm a big nerd, so it's called a non-fungible token, and essentially
Okay.
what it is, just a digital commodity that is sort of sold on the blockchain, right? And the blockchain, for those that know about Bitcoin and Ethereum and cryptocurrency, the blockchain is basically the like underlying system that these cryptocurrencies are run off of. That's a very basic, high level description of what's going on with that. But with NFTs, they're really cool, and they've been popping up a lot recently in the art world because people have been selling digital goods and digital creations for a lot of money. And the cool thing is with artists is like usually artists, right? Historically, when you sell a painting, it's sold, and then if it increases in value, whoever sells it again, you don't really get you don't get any piece of that, right?
There's no royalties. There's nothing.
Exactly. But with NFTs, you can say, all right, I made this digital piece of artwork, and every time it's resold after this, I want to receive 10% commission or 25% commission or whatever. And artists now are having the ability to, receive royalties on their work off of the blockchain for infinity, and that's something that can be passed down to your children. That's something that,
Yeah, and I really want to get into it. I'm glad that you bring this up again because I have so much going on in my head with the projects that I've been doing.
yeah,
I really want to get into NFTs. I just need the right people around me to teach me and to put me on because I don't have the time
yep.
to sit and research NFTs.
Oh, don't worry. We'll talk, and I'm gonna send you some articles and some thoughts. And yeah, I think that that's a space that you can thrive in. Like if you can.
That's God, because I keep hearing this all the time. You're not the only person that has told me this. I've
Yeah.
heard this. I've been hearing this all week and last week, and I'm just like, I disregarded it at first. NFT, what the fuck? I don't know
Yeah.
what that is. I don't have the time to look for it. I got a project to do.
Yep.
And then I keep hearing it. It keeps coming again and again and again. I'm like, yo, maybe I should just do it and
Yep.
go see what it is because I keep hearing about it
And
over and over.
the beauty is like you can do stuff that's rare, and you can say hey, I only want to do like one NFT a month or one NFT a year, and it's this is the crazy thing, Santana, is the more sort of rare it is, the more valuable it is, and the more people want it. You know what I mean? And like you can say there's only going to be 3 copies of this, or the possibilities are endless. Like you can think about it, like you don't even have to create specific art for it. You can sell like a picture of art that nobody has seen before that is already made.
Right,
You know what I mean? So it's just
that's
like,
really a smart move.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm excited to see. Yeah, I'm excited to see what you come up with on that side. And yeah, that's a huge game
Me and
changer.
you, talk.
Yes, for sure. In this show, I really want to talk about the intersection of life and business. Right? It sounds like with your career, you've had to sacrifice a lot. And one thing that I always try to tell young people is that if you want to live an extraordinary life, you're going to have to make extraordinary sacrifices. So, what are some things that you've had to sacrifice to get to the place that you're trying to go and that you've gotten to and that you've got a long way to go?
So many things. I had sacrificed partying. After college, I was a party animal. I went to every party. I was everywhere. I sacrificed that. Sacrifice relationships, being with someone. Not saying I don't want one, but that's not my main focus right now. I'm not like actively seeking a partner. You have to sacrifice that. There's so many things, but I think those are the 2 main ones.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice your vices too. I like to drink. I like to get tipsy, and I do here and there. But like when I'm working,
The Lord knows I get turned.
We got a little something for everything.
When I'm working, and it's none of that. It's straight focus. And if you're willing to sacrifice those things, you're good.
I feel like I totally hear you on all this stuff, right? Like running my company, Colors Worldwide, RMB Only, it's an entertainment company. We do so many different things. We have about like 10 people on the staff. And what people don't understand is I've had to sacrifice my social life almost entirely. And my social life becomes just my work, right? So like usually, I mean, obviously I have friends and I hang out with them here and there. But for the most part, when you're trying to create something that is big and you're trying to, get to a level that a lot of people don't get to, you don't have the time to go to the bar. You don't have the time to go to every party. You don't have the
just
time.
sit there and hang out with friends, like all the time.
What has your situation been with people like understanding that? Do you think that your people that are close to you, your friends or family, do you think they've given you grace in understanding, okay, Santana might not be able to come to this, or has it been issues at times?
There has been issues at times. There has been. I think some people might have taken it personal. I don't tell people what I'm working on. I don't tell anybody. I just come out and like, boop. And then after they see it, they're like, oh, that's why you're, like this. And I'm like, yeah. But at the same time, I don't owe you an explanation,
Yeah.
People need to learn to be understanding. The world does not revolve around you. Everybody's trying to get they shit together right now. That's like, I don't got time to be sitting around with you all day.
Yeah.
All right, and like, I don't want to tell you that. I don't want to be rude, but I can't go, like, I'm like, sorry, I can't make it. In my head, I'm like, they'll see why later. And if you really fuck with me, you'll be understanding. If you don't understand them, we're not meant to be friends. We're not meant to be in each other's space, honestly. Like, and I feel like I let the universe take care of that. Like, if you want to not talk to me again, fine, good, because I don't need that headache. That's how I. It sounds cold, but like I don't. I just can't.
Sometimes I feel like it becomes a bit of a sort of lonely road or a lonely life, and
it's hella lonely.
yeah, and I think is a trade-off, right? Is doing what you want to do in life worth the loneliness that comes sometimes?
Yes, because I'm making my mark. I'm not just here for the moment. I want to be a part of history. So like I see something way different. In time, people will understand. And if they don't understand, I really don't give a fuck because that's not my problem. That's just how I see it.
Yeah. Who are you most like? Your mom or your dad?
My mom.
Okay.
My mom is like, she's very spiritual, but she's so nice until you push her buttons and she turns into a whole. She's still nice, but she turns into a whole other person. I think I'm just like her in many ways. But I'm like the younger version of her.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I'm still trying to get to where she's at. She has like this peace that I want really bad. Like no matter what happens, I never see her like in a frenzy. She's just pure peace. And like it took her a long time to get to that point, And
what do you think you need to do to get there?
I have to grow some more. There's a lot of growing that I need to do internally. I have a lot of like issues that I need to work on. But I'll get there eventually.
In this growth process, right? Because earlier you said, you were way different when you were in college, right? So now, or when you're graduating college, you have a lot more you have a lot more discipline, you know what I mean? You've progressed. Has there been anything that you've read, watched? Like what are some, tangible things that you can share with people that have helped you a lot?
Off the top of my head, damn, what's that book that I read that I feel like changed my life? I forget what it's called. I think it's called Outthinking the Devil or something like that. It's not by James Allen. Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill?
Yeah, it's called hold on. I think it's Outthinking the Devil. That should change my life. I'm not saying Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Okay. So like that book right there, that's when I was like, because when I first started my artwork, I wasn't spiritual at all. I was just being myself, I think it was just a gift. A lot of the designs, like I didn't even know nothing about it. Like I didn't look into the third eye. I wasn't really deep into that. That's just something that I got from the universe. God gave me that. He put that in my head. I drew it out. That's how I see it. So Outwitting the Devil, when I read that, I was like, yo, what the it was like a brain fuck. I was like, dude, what? It's a really good book. I recommend everybody to read that book. I
think I try to always ask, people on the show, like what books, especially, have changed their life, because it's one of those things that, people think that their problems are new. Oftentimes, once you crack open a book, you realize like somebody's gone through this before. Somebody has done, like, we are like millions of years in existence. So any problem that's under the sun, like, yes, there's problems with.
Through it already.
Yeah,
right.
there's new problems that arise from social media, but like those same problems, comparing yourself, feeling like you're not doing what the next person is doing, it's just called keeping up with the Joneses. That was happening in 500 years ago, right? Like, people always go through the same things. It's just the medium changes.
I understand that completely. I feel like sometimes, like, when I, like, in the past, I don't want to, like, backtrack and go back to that place, but, like, I was so deep in my head that I was like, this is happening only to me. Oh my God, I gotta make a show. And then I was like, yo, other people are going through the same thing. The world does not revolve around you, Distorted. People got their own problems. I think that's just being so toxic. So instead of doing that, I'm like, how do I find a solution? How do I find a way to get through this situation without triggering other people? It's just being explosive,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's different ways to deal with stuff, and I finally learned how to deal with the situation that I'm going through right now, which I'm not ever going to talk about again. I've done it so many times on social media that it's just disgusting. At this point, I'm just thinking how to improve myself, and then everything will follow after that.
Few more questions for you, and there's going to be kind of like rapid fire, right?
Okay.
Dream brand collaboration.
Nike.
And why?
Because I love Nike.
Yeah.
I've always loved Nike since I was a kid.
What?
I love Jordan. Jordan.
Okay, specific. Okay, so if you could do like a Jordan shoe, what would it be?
The 13 breads.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like just the style of the sneaker. The 13s.
Yeah,
Love that sneaker. My favorite sneaker.
Okay. All right. Biggest artist inspiration for you? Who is it?
Yayoi Kusama.
Yeah, I mean, she with the polka dots, right? She does polka dots.
Lived many lives.
Yeah. What is something that people don't know about you, but so what is one thing that people don't know about you? And on the flip side, what is something that people think they know about you but get it completely wrong?
Damn, that was hard. I think people think that I'm mean.
I don't know why they think that. Maybe it's the Philly. Maybe it's the Philly in you.
That too. And the little ranks that I had online in the past. I'm not really like that. I'm really a shy person. Extremely shy. I don't know. I'm shy. I'm just shy. But if I feel your energy, like I already talked to you beforehand. So me and you were good. Now everybody else, when I do like podcasts or interviews, I'll be like, I'll be a little, if I don't really know you, then it's like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really, until you get to know me, then it's like firecrackers everywhere.
Yeah. You just, ever since we started talking, it was you're just really nice. You know what I mean? Like,
thank you. That's a compliment.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't get that, you're a mean person at all. But I think it's just,
People just unconsciously come off that way. Like they'll be like, some people. That's why I emphasize like showing my my personality more, because I want people to feel like, see who I am as a person. Like, I'm just like you. We're all the same. I'm no better than you. You're no better than me. And I think that I just want people to know that.
Oh man, Distorted. I think that's a great way to.
The fucking alien. The fuck.
That's a great way to end it. Like, we're all the same. We all have the same issues, the same problems, and it's even like a biological fact that I believe like 96% of everybody on the Earth's DNA is the same. So there's not really much different.
We're all one. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. All right, Distorted. So let people know, where can they find you at social media? Where can they, support your art? And then what do you have coming up?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter's more of my I let loose on there.
It's very entertaining, folks. Please. Please
Twitter
follow.
is a different world. Instagram is more professional, like more, calm. But it's Distorted _ for both. And I have a website, You'll see the links on my social media pages. For now, what's next? I'm not telling you.
Yep.
You'll have to wait and see.
You gotta
But
follow and see.
definitely the cards. I'm gonna keep them rolling. I just released a baseball card with tops.
Yeah.
My first one. My first set. I'm doing it for a whole year, so it's just on a year contract. So you're gonna see them popping up here and there over the course of this year.
Amazing, amazing. And the first one was with Pedro Martinez.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, that was dope. See, we're gonna make real collectibles in the real world and then digital collectibles in the digital world.
Yes, ASAP.
There it is. There it is. All right, Distorted. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And
no problem.
yeah, we'll talk very, very soon.